And Herod said, John have I beheaded. But who is this of whom I hear such things? Now I'm going to stop there. I'm not going to put the last part of verse 9, and he desired to see him. I'll have that after all from Matthew and Mark, where he says he went along with the rumors. I think the best way to show that Herod's opinion had changed about Jesus, and now he believed that it actually was John the Baptist risen from the dead, is to have how it's written in Matthew. This is John the Baptist. He is risen from the dead. As I said earlier, I don't want to have it written 3 times saying that John the Baptist was risen from the dead by those who were spreading the rumors, as mentioned in Luke. Spoken of by Herod the first time in Mark, and then the second time in Mark. So, since I already used the one in Luke, because that it was said of some that John was risen from the dead, and because I know that the best way to then show Herod changed his opinion would be to say, this is John the Baptist. I would put that after Mark, when he said, but when Herod heard thereof, he said, this is John the Baptist. I'm going to have it, this is John the Baptist, at the end. And since I'm going to have this is John the Baptist at the end, it means that that second time it's mentioned in Mark, where it says, it is John, I'm going to change that to this is John, add the Baptist from Matthew. But then earlier in Mark, where it says, and he said that John the Baptist was risen from the dead, I'm going to combine that with what I already have from Luke. And therefore mighty works show them forth themselves. No, but I'm not going to put that here yet. I'll put that at the end when he believes this rumor. So then this second time that who is mentioned, Herod said, John have I beheaded. Who is this of whom I hear such things? And he said to his servants, this is John the Baptist. Instead of just, it is John from Mark. So Matthew only, this is John the Baptist. I have another issue. I have to put in here somewhere the phrase, whom I beheaded. And I have to also put, and therefore mighty works do show forth themselves in him. Even though that's the first time John the Baptist is mentioned in Mark. It's the only time he's mentioned here in Matthew. So I have to put both of those phrases. And then also, because it's in Matthew, he is risen from the dead. And Mark. So all 3 of those. He is risen from the dead, whom I beheaded. And therefore mighty works show forth themselves in him. So I have an idea. I think instead of putting how it has in Mark 6:16, it is John whom I beheaded, he is risen from the dead. Actually, no, that sounds right. It is John the Baptist whom I beheaded. He is risen from the dead. And because he's risen, therefore mighty works do show forth themselves in him. Yeah. I'm going to put whom I beheaded first. From Mark only, whom I beheaded. He is risen from the dead. He is risen from the dead. It's the same in both. is risen from the dead. And then right into this statement, which was mentioned earlier in Mark, but it'll fit well here. And therefore mighty works. And therefore mighty works do show forth themselves in him. Do show forth themselves in him. Yeah, it's the same. And therefore mighty works do show forth themselves in him. Yeah, since he believes he's talking about John the Baptist, I'm not going to have this him capitalized. Even though it is capitalized in Mark, he's actually talking about Jesus, but he believes he's talking about John the Baptist. So he's not going to be putting reverence towards him. Well, some, but not what's due to God. So I'm not going to capitalize it. This is John the Baptist whom I beheaded. He is risen from the dead, and therefore mighty works do show forth themselves in him. Yeah. Now, after that, goes into the explanation of how John the Baptist was arrested and then beheaded. That's right. I have to add this last statement from Luke, and he desired to see him, because I was saving that. And I think it fits really well here. And he desired to see him. I will put this him in capital because it's only in Luke. We know he's talking about Jesus, so maybe I'm just too easily convinced. I think it's fine. I forgot a phrase in Mark. But when Herod heard thereof. I think I know where to put it. It shows that there's a change. But when he heard thereof, he said, "It is John whom I beheaded." So I'm going to put that right before he says, "This is John the Baptist of whom I beheaded. He is risen." So when Herod said, "Of whom I hear such things," then I can put, "But when Herod heard thereof, he said, It is John." It doesn't quite make sense, but I think it's the best place to put it. But when Herod heard thereof, he said, "It is John." But then I have to get rid of "and." And Herod said, "John have I beheaded, but who is this of whom I hear such things?" When Herod heard. Maybe I should start out with, "But when Herod heard thereof, he said, John have I beheaded, but who is this of whom I hear such things?" Because I can't have "he heard," then later "when he heard." When Herod heard thereof, he said, "John have I beheaded, but who is this of whom I hear such things?" Then I can go right into, "And said to his servants, This is John the Baptist." Who is this? And then he said, "This is John." Okay, that would work. But when Herod heard thereof, put that at the beginning. I'm not going to have "and Herod said." I'm going to put this "he" here. He said, "John have I beheaded, and said to his servants, This is John the Baptist." Maybe I can have, when Herod heard thereof, he said to his servants, "John have I beheaded, but who is this of whom I hear such things?" And then just go right into, "This is John the Baptist." Yeah, I think that would be okay if I put, "He said to his servants all the things that he said." I don't think it would make sense that he would go and proclaim to the whole world that this is John the Baptist. He's just responding to the rumors. And the rumors are what he hears from his servants or from his attendants. He's the king. He's got lots of people around him. But when Herod heard thereof, he said to his servants, John have I beheaded, but who is this of whom I hear such things? This is John the Baptist. Yeah, that would work. So I'm going to leave out the "and" from Matthew and Luke. Put the "said" from all three. Then move to his servants up here. So he's saying to his servants, John have I beheaded, but who is this of whom I hear such things? This is John the Baptist, whom I beheaded. He is risen from the dead. Therefore mighty works do show forth themselves in him, and he desired to see him. Yeah.